We have a trapezoid here, and we need to find the area of it. So we look at the formula for the area of a trapezoid, which is this right here. So we have the area is equal to 1/2 times the height. So the height is this part right here, this dotted line, 9.2 miles, times base 1 plus base 2. So 3 plus 10. Or you can say 10 plus 3. It doesn't matter which order you put the two bases in. Okay, so when you put this in your calculator, make sure you remember the parentheses. So 1/2 times 9.2 times parentheses 3 plus 10. So you get 59.8 square miles, which is answer A. Okay, now we're moving on to area of circles. So the formula for area of a circle is pi r squared. Notice in this first one though, they did not give us the radius. 24 meters is the diameter. So to get the radius, we have to cut that in half, and that would be 12 meters for the radius. So you've got to make sure you remember that we only plug the radius into the area formula for a circle. So if they give you the diameter, like they did here, you've got to cut it in half to get the radius. So we do pi times 12 squared. We get 452 point such and such, 0.4, there we go. So our answer is B, 452.4 meters squared. On 69, they already gave us the radius, so we can just plug that in directly. No need to do any extra work. We just plug in pi times 6.9 squared. We get 149.6 square miles, which is answer D. When we're finding the area of a circle, the radius is the only option. But when we're finding the circumference, there's two options. If they give us the diameter, we use the formula pi times d. If they give us the radius, we use the formula 2 pi r. Now the two examples that ended up on this review guide only use the radius. That doesn't mean it's impossible for one of the tests to use the diameter. So make sure you remember these two equations, and that if they give the diameter, use this one. If you give the radius, use this one. So on number 70, we do 2 pi times 4. So 2 pi times 4. We get 25.1, so that is answer B. On number 71, we do 2 pi times 2.1. We get 13.2 yards, which is answer C. Okay, next, find the mode, the median, and the mean for each set. So let me give you a suggestion. Since this is multiple choice, if you notice, the mean is different for every one of them. So really, as long as you know how to find the mean on this example, you'll be okay. So we count, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 total. So we need to add these together. Then we divide by our total, which is 17. So we get a mean of 2.71. So that means the answer is D. Now to find the mode, you would just kind of see how many each of them are. So in case it just asks for the mode on the on your exam, I'm just going to do some tallies for the options we have. So we have a 3, a 2, a 1. 322, 32, 413, 233, 26, and 4. So you can see we have 6 of 2's and 3's, so that's why the mode is both 2 and 3, because those are the two values we have the most of. They're tied for the most. So it is possible to have more than one mode. I'm not going to do it, but for the median, you just list all these numbers in order. Actually, it shouldn't be too hard to do. Because now that I've listed them, I know there's 2 1s, 6 2s, which I did 1 too many, 6 3s, a 4, and a 6. So then remember, you cross them off one at a time on each side. And we get 3 to be the middle number, the median, which is confirmed right there. Okay. On 73, I'm not going to go through all 3 of them. I'm just going to find the mean like we talked about, because they're all slightly different. So this is 74, 75. Then we have 2 78s. You could also type in your calculator 2 times 78 if you wanted to. So I'll do that on here because there's 6 80s. So instead of typing in 80 6 times, I'll do 6 times 80. Then 81. Then there's 5 82s. And 183. So that's the total. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 total. So we divide by 17. And we get a mean of 79.94. Oh, so actually I was wrong. That only narrows us down to 2 of them. Okay? So we know the mean has to be 79.94, so it's either B or C. Well, the mode can't be a decimal. It's got to be a number we actually have here. So we can cross this one off because the mode has to be an actual value. We don't have actual values of 79.8 or 80.9, so we can cross that off. And the mode is clearly 80 because that's the one that has the most dots in front of it. Okay, same instructions here to find the mean, median, mode. Trying to make sure you have plenty of practice there. So let's see, we got 4, 8, 11, 14, 17. They love doing 17 total. So we'll add all these together and then divide by 17. And make sure you watch them carefully as you enter them because it's easy to make mistakes when you type them in. So that's my first column. Okay, so total in age for all these senators is 911. We divide by the 17 of them we have. We get a mean of 53.6 or 53.59. And so that means A is our answer, mean of 53.59. Okay, our last 2 are about stem and leaf plots. So notice with the keys down here, they're just rounding them to the nearest 100. So this is just going to come out as 3,800, which means we'd have a 3, then an 8. If you look down here, example, let's say 2 and 3. So the 2, then there's 3 right here, is 2,300. So they're rounding it to the nearest 100. Okay, so that would mean we should have, if this is the answer, we'd have 3 that would round to 100. Well, with this one would round to 100, and this one would round to 100. So there's only 2 that round to 100, so we got to cross that off. Okay, this says 2 100s and a 300. So there's a 100, there's a 100, and this one would round to 300. So that lines up. So B is possible, and if you look, so is C. But D has the same problem, so is C. But D has the same problem that A has. We don't have 3 that would round to 100, so we're going to cross that off. So the first lines match in B and C. So now we need to look and see if there's 2 that would round to 1700, and 1 that would round to 1900, or if there's just 1 that would round to 1800. So this right here would round to 1800, and none of the others are in the 1000 range. So that means 1800 is the only thing that should show up in this second row. So C would be our correct answer. So now that I'm thinking about it, a better option I should have done is just to go ahead and round these to the nearest 100, because I think that'll make a little more sense if I do that. So 3800, 2900, 2900, 2600, already did 100 there, 2600, 2400, 300, and 100. So if I'd gone ahead and done that, I think it'd make it a little easier to work out. So the first row is 3-digit numbers, 100, 100, 300, which matches in B and C. The next row is things in the 1000s, which is only that one, 1800, matches C. But for 2000s, going from least to greatest, we got a 4, 2 6s, and 2 9s. And there it is, a 4 2400, 2 2600s, 2 2900s. Then the only one in the 3000 range is right there, 3800, which matches what we have down there. Okay, so we'll do something similar here on 76, because they also round them to nearest hundreds. So I'm just going to say this is 8500, 8900, 7900, 9800, 6900, 7000, 9700, 7500, 9400, 8400, and 8600. So the smallest we have is this 6900, and that's the only one that rounds in the 6000s. So I can cross off B and D right away because we don't have 2 6900s. And this row would imply there's some that are over 10,000, but there's none over 10,000. The biggest one we have is 9,800. So I can cross A off the list because there's none that are 10,200, none that are 10,500, leaving me with answer C.